All right, welcome back. There's an anti-Semitism problem plaguing Ivy League campuses, and now leaders of Harvard, MIT, and UPenn are facing a fierce backlash for failing to strongly condemn it. University of Pennsylvania President Liz Magill is up against the ropes. The board of the powerful Wharton School of Business is joining a growing chorus calling on her to resign. This after a wealthy donor announced he's pulling $100 million in gifts and donations to UPenn. All the fallout comes after Tuesday's explosive anti-Semitism hearing on Capitol Hill that led to controversial exchanges like this.
Specifically calling for the genocide of Jews, does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision.
At Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment, yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
Hard to get a straight answer. That widely panned testimony is now leading to a formal congressional investigation. The House Education and Workforce Committee Chair, Virginia Foxx, writing in part, quote, "Committee members have deep concerns with those president's leadership and their failure to take steps to provide Jewish students with the safe learning environment they are due under law." Joining us now is the Congresswoman herself, Congresswoman Foxx. Thank you so much for being on the show. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is calling on all three presidents of those universities to resign, and she's not alone. Many are joining her. Do you think they should? Should they all step down?
Well, we're investigating the campuses, the three of them plus more. And I want to let our investigation play out before we call from the committee for their resignations. I think if I say right now that they should resign, that leads us to have a conclusion to the investigation. And we really need to go through the investigative process. Oversight is a big part of our responsibility in Congress, particularly in the House, and we want to do that. And it's not just those three campuses that we're going to be investigating. We're going to be investigating many, many more.
I've got to ask you, a lot of people watched that testimony and it made their heads explode. What were you thinking as you listened to them over and over and over hedge when asked, is it okay to call for the genocide of Jews?
Well, the day before, they had asked me what my vision was. What did I want to get out of this hearing? I said, I want you all to grow a spine. I want you to express moral. I want you to bring forth morality here. And I want you to show people that you care about the students, that you are not anti-Semitic, and that you're not going to tolerate anti-Semitism on your campuses. They did not do that. I'm not sure they were prepared for the line of questioning that they had. You know, we requested that they come. They readily answered our request. We didn't have to subpoena them. But I don't think they have an idea of how strongly the people feel about this and how off course they and their campuses are.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that they thought, I don't know, to hear them over and over again, it depends, and the context. It's a simple question with a simple answer. It's not okay to call for the genocide of Jews. And it was really remarkable to see them over and over be given the opportunity to say the right thing and to over and over fail to actually do that. At the hearing you chaired this week, Harvard President Claudine Gay, you know, she faced a firestorm of criticism, leading her to apologize. She said this, quote, "I got caught up in what had become at that point an extended, combative exchange about policies and procedures." She seems to be blaming you and your questions.
Obviously, but that's what happens with liberals. And that's what happens in post-secondary education. You know, I told them I don't call it higher education anymore because they are not leading to higher order skills. They're not teaching higher order skills. They're not teaching critical thinking skills. And you're right. Liberals blame everybody else for the things they do wrong. They've exposed themselves in a way I frankly have been trying to do for a long time. I've chaired this committee. This is my second time of chairing it. I'm a former university administrator and college president, and I've been sounding the alarm on this for a long, long time, saying there is rot in the university system, and we've got to start paying attention to it.
We do have free speech in this country, even when that speech is vile and awful. But what we're talking about here is speech that is making people feel unsafe and forcing students to do things like barricade themselves in libraries or cafeterias to get away from people who are calling for the genocide of Jews. So it's not just speech, it's leading to action, right?
Correct. And when you call for destroying a whole country and for for genocide on the campuses, you're calling for action. So there is a difference in calling for action and in calling and saying what you feel about things. There is a big difference, and we're very careful not to impinge on free speech in the actions that we take in the committee.
Is it free speech for students on a campus to chant, "We support Hamas"? Is that okay?
They can do that. They can say, but they need to be aware of what that means. In its charter, Hamas calls for the destruction of Israel and the destruction, the killing of all Jews. That is not very good things for them to be chanting.
Yeah, well, and it's worth noting, Congresswoman, as I'm sure you obviously know as a former university president, these are all private schools, but they receive public funds for research or financial aid scholarships for students who are going to those schools who can't afford it because those tuitions are extremely high. So it's not just this is a private business. They receive
Correct.
Taxpayer dollars.
That's exactly right. And that's something that we need. We want to continue to make them understand. Now, under the Tax Cuts and Jobs bill, we started taxing their high endowments that they have that they're not using to help educate the students. That's what's there. But I think they have some other things coming their way to make them understand that they are getting hardworking taxpayer dollars and they have to be accountable for that.
All right, so it sounds like you're saying they might lose their taxpayer funds.
Well, we'll see.
Okay. All right, Congressman Foxx, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it. We'll watch the investigation you're leading closely.